Heyo, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Darth Rich and we are back with Star Citizen. I was just musing over this wonderful sculpture, the spinning sculpture. I thought it was so nice, we should have 3 of them, or maybe more, depending on how we go. As always, we are back here today in the Revel and York hangar. I think we might have a change next time. I do like the lighting in here. It gives us a good chance to have a look at the ships, especially on the underside. And yeah, but I think it's time for a bit of a change. So maybe next time we'll have a look at a different hangar. Today we're looking at a ship that we've looked at quite extensively through some of the videos that I've done so far, but today we're going to have a look at the Freelancer yet again. This one is a different variant, obviously, and this is one of the limited edition variants, the Freelancer MIS. And as with all the Freelancers, it's a damn fine looking ship. Look at it. It commands your respect before you even get near it. Out of all the colour schemes and all the Freelancers, the other 3 tend to be bluish, with quite a light aluminium colour. This one's more of a gunmetal grey, and it has these lovely red and yellow accents. And it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, so the original Freelancer, the standard Freelancer that we have, we know that is the everyman's Freelancer. It does whatever we ask of it. The other 2 Freelancers that we've already had a look at, the DUR or the DUR, that one is capable of long-range scanning, and it has additional fuel tanks to be able to give it a further range. And that one's suited more for exploration. They both, have a sizable cargo hold, so transport and trading are certainly very real possibilities in those 2 particular spacecraft. Then we moved on to the Freelancer Max. Now the Freelancer Max is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a Freelancer on steroids. It's a huge thing, offering nearly double the freight space of the standard Freelancer. Now, this one is the angry version. This one will carry your cargo, but it'll want to pick a fight at every turn of the journey on the way to your destination. I don't think it comes to any surprise that all the other Freelancers are more than capable of defending themselves. But if you are attack-minded, this one is going to certainly have the upper hand. So let's have a bit of a closer look at it. So we do have these extra little scan nubs on the front. These are only present on the Freelancer DUR and this one. We have those huge manoeuvring thrusters at the bottom of the cockpit there as well. And we have these magnificent, iconic cannons on the side of the Freelancer. These are present on all the Freelancers, and let's be honest, it wouldn't look quite right without them. And then you've got these 2 huge forward-facing thrusters. Everything's very, very similar to the other ones as far as design is concerned. Obviously, the Freelancer Max has double the amount of thrusters to be able to cope with the extra size and weight, and we have additional fuel tanks that are present on the DUR. But aside from that, everything is looking very familiar. As far as the actual measurements are concerned, then the MIS, due to those nubs on the front, is identical in length to the DUR, and as far as the beam is concerned, it's identical to the Dur and the standard Freelancer. The only one that's wider because of the additional cargo space is the Freelancer MIS. Now, it does sport the ability to carry an additional crew member. We'll get more into that in a second. But as far as the the rest of the actual functioning and maneuverability of the spacecraft, everything's very, very similar. We've got the same factory engines. We've got the Arc Elite 400s. As I said, the only difference is the MAX that has double the amount of those. The manoeuvring thrusters are identical. We've got 8 on all of them, and the shield is the same as the Freelancer Dur and the standard Freelancer. The only difference being is that for some strange reason the MAX shield on the Freelancer MIS is slightly less, but I suppose that's because it's more suited to pure transport, and maybe it won't be getting into quite as many scrapes as the other ones. Shield again is the same as the Dur. It's slightly different. I don't know in quite what way to the standard Freelancer and the Freelancer MIS. As far as weight's concerned, it sits kind of nicely in between most of the different weights. This comes in at 30,000 kilos, which is slightly lighter than the MAX, but that's to be expected. So, what do we get for our money, and what does it offer to be able to grant its limited edition status? Well, what we do have is, you can just see on the very, very top of the cargo hold there, you can see that there's something protruding from the top. There's one on that side, and if we go around here, we can also see one on that side as well. Let's go and have a look inside, and then we can see what's what. If we enter through this way, everything is immediately very, very familiar. In fact, I'd go as far to say as this, this is pretty identical on all the different variants. We've got an area here for what would presume be food preparation. We've got this science table or navigation table, I'm not quite sure. It comes down rather nicely, and we have some storage capacity as well. I didn't notice before, actually. We can sit down on here, and we can have a good look at the displays. Obviously these are all placeholders, but it'd be very nice if these are relaying real-time information when we're actually in flight. And we can go, "Oh no, Captain, there's a big white blob on the middle of my screen. Avoid it. Oh no, blues higher than yellow. Evasive procedure," or something along those lines. We've also got another table here. Looks pretty much identical. Whether that will be the case when in the final design. We've also got our showering and bathroom facility to make sure that we're all clean, and everything's very civilized here with the 4 cots or beds here that we've got available to us. So as we talked about before, won't labour my thoughts on this, but we've got the ability for 4 crew members or 2 crew members and 2 passengers to be able to sit down here. Up in the cockpit, we've got room for a pilot and co-pilot. Visibility from left to right is fairly good. We look up, we've got our sunroof, star roof, so we can see what's going up there. But aside from that, everything's fairly standard. Doesn't take anything away from the how good everything looks. I really like the design of the Freelancer. It's probably my favourite ship so far, I think, and certainly one of the variants are going to be accompanying me the first time I step foot in the persistent universe. So we can go through this door here, which leads to the cargo bay. We speculated before, presumably this is some kind of airlock. We've got a docking collar above us there. Very nice display. And these metal textures are some of the best that I've seen. They're really nice the way the light catches, and it really looks like these sheets of metal with a little scrape here and there really have depth, and everything looks very nice. So if we go through here, everything starts to look slightly different. Now it's obvious that the MIS is capable of carrying quite a significant amount of cargo. Just to very quickly run down, the top cargo carrier is the Max at 280. Then it's the standard Freelancer at 168 for 8 units. Then we've got the DUR at 148, which is just slightly less, and we kind of surmise, well, I surmise that the additional ability of the DUR over the standard Freelancer and just dropping 20 for 8 units sounds like a reasonable compromise as far as I'm concerned. But the MIS has the ability to be able to carry 132 for 8 units. It's not an awful lot less again. And when you compare the additional firepower that you're going to be able to dish out, then maybe that's another fair compromise depending on your playstyle. So our third crew member that's allowable on this ship. So we can presume that we're going to have one person up front piloting and perhaps navigating. We're probably going to have one person in the rear turret, and then we're going to have a third person that's probably going to have to interact with this console here. Now we can't do anything with this just as it is at the moment, but I think it's a fairly safe assumption that this is going to be associated with the Express Missile Replenishing System. So basically we're going to be able to replenish our missiles mid-flight and mid-combat. Now, as we all know, obviously we can fire a lot of the guns that attach to the spacecraft and the lasers pretty much to our heart's content. We don't have to be too frugal with our firepower there, but missiles are slightly different because once they're gone, and if you're wasting any missiles, then that's quite a significant loss in a firefight, and perhaps going to accelerate your impending doom. But if you've got a third member sat in the back here, been able to reload the missile system, then that's going to be a significant advantage over, perhaps you were fighting with another type of Freelancer. Well, the one that can replenish its missile system is going to have a significant advantage over one that can't. Now, that's not to say it's not going to come without its penalties, because missiles are presumably going to be reasonably expensive, and if you're having to stock this every time you go out and you're more than happy to fire these off at the first sign of any sort of trouble, then that's going to become quite an expensive process. However, if you are backed into a corner and you've got a fully loaded missile bay, then that's going to be your very, very significant and distinct advantage over somebody who doesn't. So we can see these runners here. It looks like we can see, let's get a little bit closer. It looks like these are possibly made of some sort of metal, maybe even some sort of very hard rubber. So you can almost visualize the missiles being stocked into these. And then this kind of pulley or conveyor system is going to be able to take those all the way up into the missile launchers at the very, very top. We've also got these quite significant mechanisms here as well, which perhaps look like they house slightly larger missiles. I'm not sure. It's going to be quite interesting to see this in action, and I'm quite excited to actually see it in action, because if the animations are very accurate, then it's going to be a very complex and very satisfying animation process, I would have thought, and something that looks particularly impressive when you're watching it happening. So that would, give the person back here a job, probably quite an enjoyable job, to be able to replenish the system. Whether they're going to have any sort of role play with the actual fire of the missiles and the targeting system, I don't actually know, but that's certainly quite an interesting process anyway. At the back we've got our standard cargo bay door, which has a excellent system as we looked at before. You can see where the piston pulls up and this arm comes all the way back. Very satisfying indeed. Good sound as well. And we can see up here we've got the rear turret, which is going to be manned as well. And if you think about it, you know, if you think that you've got the pilot up front that's been able to dish out damage and maneuver, you've got somebody here that's reloading missiles, and somebody here who's going to be sat in the turret. You know, it's going to be a pretty formidable fighter, no matter what it comes across, to be perfectly honest. And it's certainly going to be a fine addition to any fleet that's involved in any sort of conflict, because we can only presume or assume that it's going to be more maneuverable than some of the larger ships. But it's going to have it's going to pack a serious punch as well. So just looking back again, so we can see here, although we've got the console here, which I'm not sure whether that will be maneuverable or be able to position it where you need it, you can see this whole mechanism does take up some space, so that's obviously where we're losing our additional freight units. Okay, so if we just go back out now, we should be able to have a wee look. So you can see those systems there, they are actually extended. I assume that's where we do fire those from as well. Obviously these wings are well stocked with missiles as well, so it's not going to be short of firepower. If you are flying it on a solo trip or something, you're still definitely going to be able to defend yourself. Looking a little bit closer, you know, this metal and this kind of weathered effect is very effective with these colours. This slightly darker gunmetal colour, and you can see the scratches on the edge of that there, and you see the paint slightly flaking on these yellow areas as well. So it looks like it's seen a scrape or two, and but it looks very resilient. It doesn't look like it's going to break in at the first sign of any sort of trouble. You can see these wonderful forward-facing thrusters there. Absolutely glorious. So yeah, so I think we've got, you know, we've got a very nice ship indeed. I certainly wouldn't argue with anybody who wanted to purchase it. It is available as we talk at this moment in time, and it will be available up until the 1st of February 2015. The reason for that is because the tax has been made applicable in European countries, so we're currently being able to purchase some of the limited edition ships on the RSI site, but that's only for a very short period. Whether it will be available again in the future, I don't know, but you know, certainly if it's a variant that you fancied, then it's probably a good time to get your dollars out and splash the cash, as it were. Wonderful. Excellent. So I thoroughly enjoyed having a look at this. I didn't know I'd get to have a look at one so soon, to be perfectly honest. If any of you have seen any of the previous videos, you'll understand that I'm fairly new to Star Citizen, but seem to have got obsessed fairly quickly. So I'm having a good look around the ships. We'll have more videos coming. If you have made it this far into the video, as I said before, you are my favourite people. Thank you ever so much. Loving doing the videos, and if anybody's enjoying watching them, then that's very, very much appreciated. Feel free to like or dislike accordingly. Leave a comment if I've made any omissions or anything that you'd like to correct me on, or even if you just want to say hello. That would be very nice indeed. So I think we'll leave it there. Not quite sure what ship we're going to have a look at next. We do have the Constellation Taurus in the hangar at the moment, but I wouldn't mind just having a look at some of the limited edition ships, perhaps until we move on to the Constellation. So there will be a video coming in the next few days, more than likely, and I hope to see you then. My name's Darth Rich. Bye bye for now.